Hey guys, Chuck Simpson here. Hey, I want to do something a little different today. I just filmed this footage a few weeks ago when my wife and I and my brother-in-law went on a trip to South Dakota, which is just a short jaunt, 14 hours from here. So when you're in a car on a long trip, what better to do than to film footage for your favorite TV show? So this show is entitled Moments. And as these scenes go by, I just want you to think of the different moments in your life that where you were at, what you were thinking about, what you were experiencing, how those moments made you feel. You know, as we saw the church go by, you know, when was the first time you ever went to church? What was your first interaction with it? I know mine was when I was very young. I think I was 5. My mom took me to a church here in town, and actually, it's where I got my first sneak kiss from. But don't tell anybody. But anyway, so that's where, in the first love of my life, actually, I met her when I was 5. Thought I was going to marry her. We were going to live together forever at 5. Yeah, right. So anyway, just think of those times that, you know, when you first, you know, had an interaction with God or with a church or just with anybody that was, you know, in that area, you know. And as these moments go by, it was just amazing to me to think about, you know, what these trees looked like back when the settlers came. You know, where this is at is, I think, is in Minnesota. So, you know, there was a lot of German descent that settled in Minnesota and Wisconsin. A lot of German families came over from Germany and settled, and I wonder what they saw as they traveled, you know, this road, which was not a highway back then. I'm sure it was probably a rugged trail full of woods and trees, and you know, as we have the ease of the highway to get around today, I'm sure it took them much longer to travel across the state as we are here in these scenes. You know, what did they think? What were their moments? You know, when they crossed here. You know, there's a scene in here that's not in here, but okay, wait a minute. Okay, it's not in here. But it's the Badlands, and I went and visited it in South Dakota. And if you ever get a chance, just to you want to see something really phenomenal, go check out the Badlands, because it's like you're driving and it's just like flat. I can just picture the settlers, you know, across this beautiful prairie, you know, with the grass is blowing in the wind, and then all of a sudden they come up over this hill and they see this wasteland, really, of miles and miles of just jagged rock and steep hills and caverns and just unpassable. And to think that they had the determination to figure out how to get around that and to keep moving to the west. You know, what was their moment? What did they think in that moment? Did they think, boy, we're just going to settle here and give up? Or did they think in that moment, we can find a way to get around this? This is just a challenge that we can overcome. So, you know, as we just, you know, I just think of all the farmers that are out here, you know, all the different generations of farmers that have plowed the land, that have worked the land in this area. You know, what were they thinking about? You know, what moments did they get to experience? You know, when World War I happened, you know, what were they thinking in that moment? You know, when World War II happened, what did they think in that moment? You know, when Woodstock, you know, that crazy time. What were people thinking? You know, what experiences were they experiencing? You know, as we pass people on the road, you know, you just wonder where they're going. What moment are they going to experience? You know, because we were going home for Christmas to celebrate Christmas with our in-laws, but you know, other people probably had destinations. You know, obviously they weren't going somewhere warmer, because you know, up in Minnesota, South Dakota area, this time of year, it's not warm. In fact, my in-laws just emailed us yesterday and said in South Dakota we're having a blizzard, so good for them. But so anyway, you know, when we look back on our lives and we think of all the different moments that are affected by us and that we are affected by, you know, we we tend to forget a lot of them. We tend to forget a lot of the moments that have shaped our lives and made us who we are, because each step that we take, each moment that we take really is a step that guides us towards the situations that we find ourselves in. I just don't think that we just wander around aimlessly in this world. I think we are either guided by ourselves or guided by God or just guided by circumstances, and like with this car, we're in the car where we have a destination. We know how to get there. We know that what steps it's going to take for us to get to our final destination. And when we get along the journey, we're not so much excited about the things that we've passed, but we get excited about the things that we're going to see along the journey, along the way. And that's how life should be with us. We shouldn't really, be too worried about the past. I mean, yes, we want to understand how we get where we're going and how we've gone this far, but what we should really be excited about are the moments that are going to come in the future. I just think like the technology that we have now, and I just see my kids and I think of my grandkids, what kind of technology are they going to have when they are my age or older? Are they going to have talking robots? Are they going to be able to beam themselves up to a spaceship? Are they going to be able to have light, I don't know, whatever kind of cool technology that's out there, but it's in each step that we take is in a journey that's taking us farther and farther into the future and into the destination of our lives. As I see, the rocks that were cut out there, what did it take to cut through that hill to make a road? I think of Mount Rushmore, which is really a cool story. All the moments that they had. I always thought that it was just carved out of guys up there with chisels and hammers and carving it out, but it was actually made with sticks of dynamite. This guy would look through this little cool thing, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but he would have a scale of the mountain in a studio with a big opening, and he would have this thing that he would be able to measure the scale, the monument, and be able to take that and to shift that into however many feet or inches it referenced to on the side of the mountain. And then they would drill a hole and stick a stick of dynamite in it and blow it up. And it's just amazing to think that creativity, that ingenuity made such an awesome monument. And if you haven't seen Mount Rushmore up close, you got to see it. It's pretty stinking cool. But, just the moments, where were you at if you were around when you heard that they were going to start making this monument? Back then, a lot of people thought it was crazy. Oh, the government's wasting money on carving the side of a mountain until it was done. And then they saw the awesomeness of it, and they saw how outstanding it was and what it really referenced, and all those moments in each one of those presidents' life. George Washington, the father of our nation, Abraham Lincoln and all that he did and the wonderful things he did. He freed a nation, and you got Theodore Roosevelt. He did so much for the environment. He established the parks. He was just a friend of nature. And then Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence. I mean, it was just all those guys. When you think and see them, you think of the moments that they lived in and just the importance that they had. But even in their journey, they had to take steps and live moments to get up to the point where that they were in the circumstances that define their lives. So just keep walking, just keep stepping. Even though if you don't know where you're going or have forgotten where you've been, just remember that each step is just a way to get you closer to what God really has intended for you, for the purpose that God has intended for you in your life. Don't, always cherish the people around you. Always cherish loved ones, strangers, little ones, old ones. Every moment that comes into your life, cherish it, because as fast as these scenes are going by is as fast as our life goes by. My daughter's 17, and I remember I remember when she was born, and there was a picture that we took of her. She's probably going to kill me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway, where she was laying on the bed and her hair was just crazy. It was like she had like 3 little strands of hair, and it was just all crazy. And I always thought, what is she going to look like when she gets older? What is she going to be like in middle school? What is she going to be like in high school? And now that she's 17, you know, and I look back and I think of all those moments and in the journey that's made her who she is today. You know, I just think that each moment is important. Each moment is a force that drives us even farther and farther, you know, so we can just continue this journey, you know. And it's like on the show here, you know, these trees going by, and it's just journey, you know. You can be so focused on just the journey that you don't take time to look what you're passing by or what is passing you by, you know. It's all too often. I always say it's, you know, each one of us, I believe in my heart, will have that moment in life where it'll be like a crossroad. We'll be crossing over from, you know, young to old, and think, you know, I could have done more with my life, or I can't wait to do more with my life. You know, it's that moment, you know, and a lot of people think, man, I haven't really done anything. I've just let life pass me by. I've not taken time to enjoy the moments. I've not taken the time to enjoy the fellowship with my family and with my friends and coworkers. I've, you know, just been too focused on getting the job done, getting home, you know, just getting the work done, you know, like, you know, in the profession that I'm in, you know, it's all about time. It's all about time and time points and getting to a time point and getting to a moment that all eventually leads up to the end of the day. And for me, that's really just a really cool reference of how our life is. You know, we are just trying to get to the next time point. We're just trying to get to the next moment, to the next lunch, to the next dinner, to the next breakfast, to the next TV show, to the next weekend, to the next vacation, to the next month. And instead of saying, you know, I'm just going to cherish the moment that I have now. A good friend of mine, John, actually just passed away this weekend, and the couple days before he passed away, I went to visit him, and I could just see on his face the sadness, you know, just, you know, for one, dying. I mean, none of us wants to die, but it's an inevitable moment that's going to happen in all of our lives. None of us are going to escape it, and I could just see the sadness in his face. I could just see, you know, him think, I could have done so much more, or I wish I'd have done so more, or I wish I hadn't have done, or this or that. And I know he's a great man, and I love him, and I know he's with Jesus now, and not having to worry about snowstorms and blizzards and moments anymore, because now his moment is an eternal moment in the presence of God. And so it just reminded me, you know, to take life preciously. You know, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed the next moment. So, you know, as you go through your day, you know, just take time to enjoy what's in front of you and in behind you and around you, and be excited about what's coming up, and always remember how you got there, and the friends that you've gotten there, and the situations, and you know, whether they're good or bad, you know, because each moment is a moment in our lives, whether it's good or bad, and we can't take that back. Once the past has happened, it's happened, and once the future's happened, it's happened. There's no changing it, and so we need to cherish those moments and build on those moments that have challenged us, that have caused us to either stumble or to you know, veer off our path, but those are moments nonetheless that we need to stay focused on, because those are the moments that can help us grow. Those are the moments that can continue to keep us on our journey. You know, it's very interesting. I love to see, you know, how you see a bunch of dead trees and all of a sudden you see a bunch of evergreen trees. And that's just kind of the way life is. You know, it's like even in the midst of winter and you know, trees, no leaves, and the trees, you know, symbolizing, you know, dormancy or whatever, you know, in the midst of it, there's these beautiful evergreen trees that to me represent life, you know, life eternal. Life is always going on. Life is always happening. I always try to. I'm a big Titanic nut. I mean, I love the Titanic, and I'm gonna actually get to go up and see like a Titanic memorial site and in May, and I'm really excited about it. But I just remember what the moments, what they were thinking in that moment. Here's this grand ship that everybody said was unsinkable. It was double hulled. They had all these watertight doors. If anything was to happen, it wouldn't sink because they just manufactured it that way, and they sold it that way, and then in one instant, in one moment, that was changed forever. For 1,400 people, their lives were ultimately lost because of a moment of just thinking that they had created something that was indestructible, and as nature or God, whoever you want to say, has a way of making us think differently. Because it's actually funny, because they said with the Titanic, if they had actually just rammed it head on, it would have floated because of the way its hull was designed. But because they turned and they got 6 compartments, that's what caused it to sink. So it was a moment of not trusting the engineers, not trusting your own instincts. And because they didn't trust their own instincts, the rest is history. The beautiful ship is at the bottom of the Atlantic. 1,400 people are dead. Countless other lives are changed forever because of a moment. So we just got to just cherish those moments and realize how those moments can affect our lives, either for the good or for the bad. I remember the moment, when it's just moments. It's just moments in our lives, and even moments in other people's lives affect our lives. We think of, the Emancipation Proclamation. How many lives did that change? That was a great moment. When Abraham Lincoln, basically said that we are something that we already knew, that we are all created equal with inalienable rights to be free and equal unto God, and what a moment that was, and to see a community and a nation come together, and it's been a struggle ever since, and there's been great moments, there's been terrible moments, and as you guys have probably watched the show, I'm a huge fan of Martin Luther King Jr. I will die sadly knowing that I never ever got a chance to meet him, but I feel like I know him through his works and through his ministry, because he took the moments that were given in his life, and he took them and used them to better other people's lives. It wasn't about him. He wasn't trying to make a name for himself. He was trying to raise a community. He was trying to bring equalness to all of us, and sadly he was cut down short in his life, but his message still goes on today, and it's the same message that Jesus had. It's the same message that God sent with us, that that we are all equal, that he loves us unconditionally, that we're all equal in his eyes, just as Martin Luther King said. Gandhi, I love another man that I love so much. He used the moments that were in his life to change the nation, to change hearts, to change minds. I mean, a nation would turn to listen to Gandhi. They would turn and they loved the man, and he lived with nothing. He had nothing. He had no material possessions, because those moments weren't important for him. The moments that were important for him were the moments that he got to lead, and he got to cast his vision, and he got to change somebody's heart, one heart at a time. And sadly, he was cut down short. So I just think of all the other leaders and all the other people that have been instrumental in just making changes for the better in this world and in our lives, and I'm sure there's many more that you guys can think of that have touched your life, that has changed you, and has just guided you. I think of all my younger elementary school teachers, and high school teachers, and all the friends that I've had growing up, that have helped me get to where I am at now. And So, I just thank you for listening today, and I just think, as you just go through this week, just enjoy the moments. Enjoy the moments in your life. Enjoy the moments in somebody else's life, because we're all in this together. We're all going up the same ladder, and so just take each rung at a time and enjoy it, and then I will see you again next week on East to West. Have a great week, guys.